the airport to speak at our chamber event?
Yeah, no, we were meant to get there. I think, Rach, I was still in Brisbane at 5:30 when it was on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it was
I was coming back from the Gold Coast
Oh,
at that time of night.
well, yeah, Brisbane.
Wake 'em on, mate.
You have to kind of leave before 2 o'clock, I reckon nowadays. 1
Yeah,
o'clock.
what, Brisbane?
Yeah,
Shit,
yeah. If you're
Comes
going
through
to
nudgy
if you're
there.
going to lunch, you might as well stay the night.
Yeah. All right.
disaster.
So, Justin, we do a top and tail of this after you've gone. So we'll just do an intro to you, and then we'll go from there.
Cool.
As Pep said, if you say something that you want to edit it, just say, hang on, take that out, whatever. And we'll, we're all good. Okay. So, Justin Pascoe, welcome
Thank
to
you.
the podcast. How are you, mate?
I'm well.
That's all right.
Thank you for having me.
That's our pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. So, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Pascoe joins us today. Now, Justin is a director, a director? Is there a
There's
team?
two of us.
Two of us, okay, of Global Sports Fund. And Global Sports Funds are the owner of the Sunshine Coast Lightning netball team. Justin has over 20 years of experience at the highest levels of sports administration with an MBA and a commercial background. He spent 6 years as a player within the Australian rules football system before transitioning to leadership roles across 3 different sporting codes in Australia. His career includes 6 years in the US, where he worked in private equity. Where were you in the US?
LA.
Oh, wow. Further strengthening his expertise in both sports and business. His key sports career roles have included chief executive at West Tigers in the Sydney and Penrith Panthers, right? CEO, what's CCO?
Penrith. So I started off CCO and then ended up being CEO of the football club.
Oh, no, this is Western Bulldogs.
Oh, Western Bulldogs. So I was Chief Strategy Officer.
Righto. And you're the current owner of the Newcastle Jets.
Part owner.
Part owner of the Newcastle Jets soccer team.
Top of the table.
Right.
And good crowds too. I
Big
saw the other
crowds,
week.
yeah.
Yeah. It's good. Well done.
And so you're a senior sports administrator across 3 codes. In October 2025, the Global Sports Fund purchased the Sunshine Coast Lightning netball team, who are dear to our hearts here on the Sunshine Coast, and had a close loss to Fever last week.
Yes.
You'd
very
take that.
disappointing.
You'd take that as a win almost against the Fever, and I think it was away in Perth.
I wouldn't take it as a positive.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And this is timely also because this weekend we've got the Battle of the Bruce.
Battle of the
Got
Bruce.
the
Yep.
Firebirds up here at Suncoast. So,
Is that a sellout yet?
I think there's about 200 tickets left.
Yeah,
Right. Fantastic.
yeah.
Well, it's only midweek, so.
And owner also of the Ottawa Blackjacks, professional
Ah.
basketball team in Canada,
there you
Right.
go.
which we settled September last year. So we settled that a month before the Lightning. So you
Oh.
can imagine the
Yeah.
chaos that was settling to.
So
teams.
the Blackjacks is a basketball team in the Canadian comp.
Yes, Canadian Elite Basketball League. So
Yeah, right.
outside the NBA, it's the only elite competition in Canada. Growing sport. That and soccer in Canada are probably the fastest growing sports. 7-year-old league. We purchased it after about a year of DD, but now it sits in Ottawa, the nation's capital. We appointed all new management.
How do they go in the comp?
Played in the first final last year and then got knocked out.
Righto.
So the expectation is better than that this year.
Yeah, righto.
Summer
Okay.
competition, so it starts in May, runs through till sort of end of September.
Because they'd have hockey in the winter, wouldn't they?
Yes, big time.
Yeah, big time, yeah.
And
All
Canadian,
right.
and Canadian football.
Well, Justin, anyhow, for all of that, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So we'll launch into these intriguing questions that Peppy puts together for these events. He dives deep. Tell us where Justin Pascoe hails from. What's the backstory?
So born and bred in Melbourne. I was born in Bulleen, so just near Doncaster, Templestowe.
Mm-hmm.
Mum and dad originally from Mackay, mum from Aspley in Brisbane.
Oh, right.
So
Queensland stock.
Yep, very much so. So all my relatives are Queenslanders. So
Excellent.
Why Sunshine Coast Lightning was so interesting to me in this place is because I've been coming here since I was about 3 or 4. Nana and Granddad had an old fibro shack down near Mooloolaba Wharf before Mooloolaba Wharf was
Oh,
actually
wow.
a wharf.
Mm-hmm.
Where the dentist is now, sort of 100 metres back from the beach and 100 metres back from the wharf.
Yep.
Jeez, did the family hang on to that?
No, unfortunately. But it was just a fibro shack. We used to drive up from Melbourne, 3 kids in the back, that old story.
Mhm.
And every time I came over from Buderim down the hill towards Alex and I saw water, it's like one of my favourite childhood memories. So any time I could get back here, we'd just all bunk in the garage. It's like 8 bunk beds in the garage and we'd just all pile in there. And
Idyllic days, eh?
my uncle used to have a little tinny that we'd literally roll across into the river where Minyama wasn't existing, and we'd go.
Smoke.
Yeah, it was so
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
Loved it.
What year are we talking about here?
I'm 55 now, so 52 years ago.
Right. Okay.
Extraordinary.
Now we got
Wow.
your age.
Gee, that's right. But and just on that, gee, you've seen some changes.
Yes, very much so.
Wow.
Yeah, extraordinary. Well, yes and no. Like it hasn't, in my view, it hasn't evolved like the Gold Coast, as an example. I think they've done a fairly good job,
Good.
maintaining sort of where it was back then. But certainly it has to evolve with the population growth and the economic opportunities here. There's no other way than to have a growth mindset.
Yeah, but to describe where you were there with no Minyama Island, just the river, that's
And mangroves.
yes, exactly right. Yeah, not many people here on the Sunshine Coast would have had that experience. I suspect.
I loved it.
Yeah, fantastic. And the Pascoe that your dad, he was Brisbane Pascoes.
So he was Mackay.
Oh, he was Mackay.
So he was
sorry.
Mackay,
Yeah.
and then he moved down and went to Churchie in about year 10 or 11, got a scholarship. His dad, so my pa, then had a butcher's shop in Chermside.
Oh wow.
So, so we would always sort of come up and spend a bit of time in Chermside, or Wavell Heights really, and then we'd come up to obviously
Yeah,
here
right.
for the...
And in Melbourne, where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to uni?
I went to Carey Grammar.
Oh, yeah. Good footy school?
Is now.
Oh, it wasn't back then.
No, horrible.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Okay.
So we wore bright yellow,
Oh.
which never helped.
No.
That was
no.
our jersey.
No.
No.
And back then we were up against the Xaviers and the Caulfields that were, I think, getting some good scholarship players in.
Yep.
And they were like wearing black and red.
I was going to say bright yellow, no pattern, no stripes, no V.
No,
Oh, nothing at all, just yellow.
just yellow with, I think, maybe black trimming on the top. That's about it.
Oh God, you
Yeah.
guys would have
It's
been
like
pasted.
like
The Canaries.
like Richmond's reverse jumper, but at least they've got a black.
Yeah, and we
That's right.
and we performed.
accordingly.
I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, right, okay, yeah. And Assumption, did you play against them as well? 'Cause
No, different.
different
Yeah,
competition.
that was we were APS and they were, I don't know what they were. But
Yep.
Assumption was like with Marcelin and the others.
Yep. And uni, where did you end up going?
So I didn't go to uni straight from school.
Yep.
I went in my MBA about 8 years after
Yeah.
at Melbourne Business.
But what did you do when you left school work-wise?
So when you said I was in the system for 6 years as an AFL player, I think we should qualify that I was a very failed athlete. I was in the system. I was drafted. So before drafting, it was just zoning. So where I grew up in Bulleen was a Fitzroy zone.
Yep.
So I had to play school football, going to the school I went to, and then I got asked to come down when I was about 15 to a program. It's like the under-17s or something. And back then they had the under-19s, so I started playing under-19s when I was sort of in year 10 and 11. But I only could play at the start of the season or the end of the school season. So I could get like 2 games at the start and like 5 games at the end.
Yeah. And play for the school in between.
Yeah, and had to
right.
play for the school in between. And then, I then quit footy.
What? Just as an aside, what colour jersey did you wear when you played for the club, as opposed to the yellow of the school?
Well, it was Fitzroy. So
Fitzroy.
it was,
Oh,
so
right.
it was
So
there.
the
the
Brisbane,
maroon
so the
gold,
Brisbane
yeah.
colours,
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
right.
it was red, maroon, and
Yep.
blue.
Did you
Right.
play with anyone who kicked on?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I played with plenty, nearly everyone.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he was a standout because he didn't.
I understand you got dodgy hamstrings, so
Yeah, at my age I
let's
do.
let's blame the hamstrings. We don't know what happened back.
And then I quit footy at. So I actually had a lot of adductor problems. So I quit footy at 17, 18 as I finished school. So the year that I probably should have committed more. And then went with a mate to drive around Australia. Went to landed in a small town called Wirraley, which is up in the northeast Victoria.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my dad had a friend who owned a tobacco farm, so I'd go and pick tobacco over summer.
Jeez.
I don't know if you've ever picked tobacco, but
No. I know where Wirraley is. My brother-in-law's from.
You got
really?
you're bending over, chipping it, aren't you?
no. So you're in a machine, and you're actually sitting down, and you're pulling from the bottom up. and in the
righto.
mornings, certainly as the season goes on, gets freaking freezing. And in northeast Victoria, there,
Especially with rally. Yeah.
it gets really cold. So you'd get to the end, and you'd finally see sunlight, and you'd literally jump up, tie your sack up, and throw it up the top, and just stand there, dreading the driver to sit there and say, "Okay, we're doing," because it'd take half an hour to go up and down each one.
Right.
So I did that, and also picked kiwi fruit, which is opposite. You pick from the vine down.
Mm-hmm.
And I played footy at Rowley. We were just going on an experience, and then I got drafted back from Rowley to St Kilda
Oh, okay.
in 1990 or 1991.
Yeah, right.
The worst thing I did was actually go down when I got drafted mid-year, because Rowley football was heavily focused on Tuesday, Thursday night at the Rowley Hotel afterwards.
Good pub too. Good pub.
And it wasn't, I don't think I was really conducive to go straight from that environment down to mid-season, of which all these other athletes had been doing a full pre-season and half a proper season.
Yeah.
So nevertheless, I went down there and spent a couple of years there, then got shifted to Collingwood for a couple of years. Then Melbourne picked us up in a supplementary draft.
Yep.
And I said, no, I'm okay, thanks. And I went and played back up in Myrtleford, which is a stronger competition. It's the Ovens and Murray.
Yep.
Where I met my beautiful wife now
okay.
of 26 years, and then came back and played in the Diamond Valley League, which was back then probably the most dangerous league in the competition.
I was going to
In
say.
Australia.
Who'd you play for them?
Heidelberg. So at least I
right.
found a team that was actually had a reputation of being dangerous. So I sort of hid behind everyone
I was going
nicely.
to say, when you've got a talent, and I'll say that of you, that you obviously had a talent, and you go to those country leagues, do you get targeted? Here's the golden haired boy out of town, or
So certainly the first time in Rowley, there's a town called Beechworth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Beechworth were notorious for being quite aggressive.
There is a jail there.
True that,
There
and
was
a bakery.
Yeah,
there's
the
a bakery, jail, and a psychiatric hospital.
Yes, there is.
So when they all would come out, they would come out into the town, and I don't know how far they would roam, but there was also a lot of brothers that played in the same team at Beechworth. I think the Careys had about 4 brothers, not related to the Duck.
Yep.
There was another family. So once there's lots of brothers and family and cousins playing in one team, it's always going to be quite heated.
Yeah.
Because they all stick up for each
Yeah,
other. And
exactly right.
Right.
there was a few times I was targeted. I mean, and Myrtleford was the same, but Myrtleford, it was actually a really good standard of football. Like you're playing the Wodongas, the Wang Rovers, the Wang Magpies, the Albury teams.
Yep. There's some great players from around there.
Yeah. And then Diamond Valley, it was at times dangerous from the crowd to the players.
That's where the Shores are from, aren't they? Around there.
Whereabouts?
Tony and
Oh, down, Preston.
Yeah, they're wild.
Growing up in a small country town like Stanthorpe, I know what that's like when you go, somebody comes, former A grade player or whatever comes from another, say from the city, they're just targeted, as you say, from both the crowd but also the other team. It's hilarious.
I would say one. I played with a guy at Collingwood who did play some first grade games, but was playing against us, and I think he was playing for maybe North Heidelberg at the time, which was always a heavy rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And I had played with him reserve grade, and I went up to him and sort of shook his hand before the game and said, good luck today. And he said, if you talk to me again, I will break your jaw.
Right.
And this is someone I knew.
Yeah,
This
right.
is someone I actually knew and had played with. I was like, this is going to be fun.
We could
I love this.
Well, I was going to say we
Yeah.
could keep going with the banter and break out some beers and in the afternoon to go, but we get down to tin tacks. So what about your folks? What do they do for a living? And
So Dad was a dentist. That's why he went down to Melbourne for a job. Mum was stay-at-home mum.
brothers and sisters?
2 older sisters.
Okay.
And then Dad had his own business, but then had some health issues in his 50s and then had to sell that and then sort of worked periodically and then retired about 75, but sort of been going through good and bad health for a period of time, but continues to go and is
Good.
back healthy again, which is good. 2 sisters, both have houses here. So I've got one sister that lives up near Coolum.
Oh, yeah, right.
She's married to the head coach of the Brisbane Lions female side, Craig Starcevich.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And then my other sister, she lives just in Maroochydore there. And Dad's up here as well with his wife.
Okay.
And then I've still got cousins and aunties.
Wow, the clan.
Yeah, and Mum's still in Melbourne with her husband.
Strong connections with the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Tell us, what was the important? What did you learn from your parents? What set you up in life that you learned from? Your
Be
folks?
nice to people, strong values and work ethic. And if I didn't learn that, I certainly learned that from my wife, who grew up as the only female in a family of 4 boys on a farm.
So I was going to say, you mentioned her before when you met her in the bush. So she was a country girl?
Country girl, grew up on a
Fantastic.
tobacco farm.
Oh, right.
Italian
Wow.
heritage, second
Ah.
generation.
Beautiful.
And when the Victorian government sort of incentivised people to get out of tobacco, her dad and her uncle were massive deer hunters.
Oh,
So they set up a deer and emu tourist farm. So
wow.
they got a restaurant on the farm,
Oh, wow.
370 acres of, beautiful. There's a little winery, but you can go and pat the deer, and
Or shoot them.
we can't shoot them on the property. But he takes people on, he's got this crazy little 4-wheel drive sort of van truck thing that he takes people around the farm.
And
he
where's
gets really
that?
close. That's between Myrtleford and Bright.
Right.
And what's it called?
The Red Stag Deer Farm. If
Right.
anyone's down in northeast Victoria, go to
Yeah,
the Red
well,
Stag.
I'll let my brother-in-law know.
Yeah,
He's-
Red Stag.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
fantastic. So how? Just going back a step. How did you go from picking fruit to doing your MBA?
Well, when I came back to Melbourne,
Mm.
then I was doing a few different jobs. One in real estate, one working with a merchandise retailer, wholesaler selling to retail. Then I went and worked. I thought it was the next best step to get into a big corporate. Being in smaller businesses, I thought that could have been a pathway that I could continue with, but I wanted to get exposure. There was a advert in the paper for Bridgestone. So I went and applied for this, and the state manager of Victoria, guy by the name of Peter Still, he employed me. I don't know how many people applied, but he employed me. And it was actually probably the best learning I've ever had, because I had 0 tyre experience, 0 automotive experience, and everyone who had been in that industry, because it's quite a insular industry back then, had been in the industry for a long time. So not dissimilar to my country football experience, that they would look at me and give me no favours at all. Almost the private school boy. What the hell are you doing in this? Because there was a lot of, it was back then a blue collar industry.
Yep.
I loved it though. I put myself in really uncomfortable positions all the time. I'd learn how to fit and do tyres in the workshop, so then I could get some credibility by my co-workers. I'd go out on
What was your role? Sales?
sales, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sales. So sales rep, based out of Altona, so in the inner west.
Yep. Tough area too.
Yeah, tough
You
area.
love
too.
tough areas, eh?
And some of the best learnings was that you'd go in and talk to, and there was truck tyres as well. So you'd go and talk to, the Westgates and the Lindsay Foxes of the world, which are $100 million businesses, and you'd go and then talk to a 2-truck operator, and the difference in how you had to adapt to conversation, and even how you presented, like you're tying your jacket on to go and talk to the Lindsay Foxes of the world versus what you'd go into talking.
Sure.
So just at a young age, I thought that was to be in a multinational, be exposed to the processes that happen at the bigger companies, to work with a team that hated me from the beginning, and to win the trust back, or win their trust and respect. And then when I went to Pirelli, because when I finished footy, I always thought that, because I was immature in terms of an athlete, like I never prepared properly. I used to always go and party and not prepare, and I was quite liked by my fellow teammates off the field, but not really respected on the field.
Yeah, right.
And as an immature kid, that wasn't that important, being respected on the field. But if I had my time again, that would be the thing you'd want to be respected for. So I thought, I'm not going to muck around now. I'll knuckle down and try and make a career that's successful. So I went and did my MBA while working full time. And I'm not someone who can sit there and look at an MBA while working full time and say, they take 6 years to do. They would literally kill me. I've got to get things done quickly. So I did it all in 2 years. I was doing Tuesday night, Thursday night, and back then you had to attend uni. It wasn't online.
Yeah. And were you still working at Altona?
No, I was working for Pirelli at that time, so I shifted to Pirelli.
Were they in town?
They were in South Melbourne. Similar. So
Yeah.
still, but I had to be there at 6 till 9:30
Mm.
on a Tuesday and Thursday night. And then to fast track, every second semester I'd do a full day on a Saturday or Sunday.
Wow.
And you instead of doing 11 weeks at Tuesday or Thursday, you could do like 5 or 6 and it's all day.
Jeez.
And you get another subject done.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We had no kids. But then MBAs, a lot of it's about leadership and interaction and teamwork. So you'd have to always be assigned group
Yep.
exercises and assignments, which was a freaking punish because you'd always then, after all the going to work, then attending university, then you'd have to meet and do work as a group because
engage.
And engage, but you had to actually do the presentation as a group. So you couldn't just sit there on some of them and say, here's Peppy, your half of the assignment, here's my half. We'll email back and forth and we'll just get it done. You actually had to sit there and rehearse and present. And so
Old school.
yeah, it was time consuming,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
again, it was good learning. My wife was doing a master's marketing at the time, so she got that done as well at the same time. So, and we were traveling still, like we enjoyed to travel. We delayed kids for 10 years after getting married, so we sort of got the work and the university out of the way.
How many kids you got?
2.
That's good.
17, 13. Boy, 13, taller than me now, and girl, 17.
Fantastic. Are they born and bred on the coast or
Born and bred in America.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So they're 2 American citizens or
So
joint citizens.
You mentioned that before. So you had 6 years in LA.
6.5, yeah.
Was that before Global Sports Fund became a thing?
Yeah, very much so.
Tell me and that was in private equity. Just tell us a bit about that.
So my wife was transferred over there with Disney. She was working for Disney at the time in Australia. Spent 5 years working for Disney, then spent another 6.5 years over there. I got an opportunity with a company called Marlin Equity Group, and that was really doing private equity around poor performing to good and also in sports licensing. So you'd go out and do deals with MLB, NFL, NBA, Disney, Lucas, Marvel on consumable products and then get them out into the Costcos of the world, the Kmarts of the world,
Wow.
the bigger retails. So, yeah, it was good. I loved it. I loved LA. I loved hated the traffic. You'd actually sit there and operate your life around traffic.
Yep.
Like you'd plan things to avoid the coming up from the Gold Coast type scenarios we spoke of there.
Yep.
But I really loved the American culture.
Where'd you live?
So we were first we started just off Sunset in Hollywood, then we went to West Hollywood.
WeHo.
Yep. Then we went
I've learnt WeHo.
What's that?
West Hollywood.
West Hollywood, WeHo. You
Then
always
we-
drop that in if you
Then we
can't.
went to Hancock Park, which is just east.
Yep.
And then we went over the hill. Almost as we had our first child, we moved out of West Hollywood to Hancock Park, to a bigger property. And then when we had our second child, then we moved over the hill to Studio City into
Wow.
the valley.
Yep.
Yeah, right. What prompted you to get out of LA and come back?
My wife really wanted to have the kids' school here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and Sienna was at that stage where she was starting school, so that was pretty much it.
Yeah, right.
So I still think every country's got its challenges around, and if you've got political views, I love the sport in America. I love how commercial they make sport and engaging they make sport. I think it's amazing the experience that you have on a game day across all codes. But I really love the positivity, and this is just my view, that exists within America around the fact that if you are successful, they actually really encourage it and endorse it, and they genuinely want their neighbour to be. I used to sit there and say there's 300 million pedestals and everyone's got a spot for it. Where here in Australia there's one.
Yeah,
And if you're halfway
that's-
up it, it's like chop, 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 chop.
Yep.
And if you're over there and you see someone, turn up in a Ferrari or whatever, most people over there would sit there and say, wow, what did you do to get that? Where here they'd go, as we all know, oh, look at this dick type scenario. So
Yeah.
I like the shift in mentality over there.
Yeah, that's well documented. That's a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
About the different cultures.
So tell us about the Global Sports Fund. When did it and where did it come from?
So I've sort of gone on a journey of a sports administrator across the AFL and NRL. And then in that process, I've been doing a lot of looking for best practice and benchmarking across the world. So I've probably gone to 100 different franchises across America and North England. really focused around meeting not only from a stadia perspective, from a high performance perspective, from a coaching perspective, from an administrative perspective, from a commercial perspective, seeing how things are done. And I would take 8 to 10 people with me that were stakeholders of the club I was at the time, and take them on the journey. I thought it was really important for them to understand and also give them money can't buy experiences. We'd be sitting down talking with an NBA coach. We'd be going through their high performance facility. We'd be playing basketball on the Chicago Bulls court. We'd be going back a house to the Rams or the Jets, and we'd be running bases around Dodger Stadium, things that you can never actually access or get. And they're pretty special experiences, but you'd also learn a hell of a lot along the way. Sport as an asset class over the last sort of 8-10 years is classified as an asset class, so like bonds and equities and everything else, and its valuations going through the roof. People are starting to realise the commerciality in sport and how important it is.
Is that globally or more?
Globally.
Yeah,
globally,
right.
absolutely
Okay.
globally.
Right.
If you look at if you look at Wrexham as a good example, now Wrexham's probably a bit unfair because it's got Stardom attached to it, but still, if you can go from division, whatever they were, 3 down below championship lead and continue to progress, and then tell a narrative which brings that connectivity in with your fan base and actually opens up your organisation, the valuation, they've gone from whatever it was, £2 million to now.
And just for my purposes and also for our listeners, who's that Wrexham?
Wrexham, which is I think they're in the Championship League, not far away from
the English soccer.
right. And they were like Division 5.
Right.
Bought for $2 million, and now it'd be worth nearly $1 billion at a guess.
And owned by two Hollywood. I can't remember the names, but
neither can I.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one. I know the one.
It's on Netflix. I think.
That's right. Yeah.
But I think so.
So to that point, then, that's the asset.
Yes. Yeah. So the asset in terms of the increase in valuation, I still, and if you look at, here's another good one, Drive to Survive. So if you look at Drive to Survive, America wasn't that enamoured by Formula One 10 years ago. Drive to Survive has done this amazing job at getting 15 to 35-year-old women in America now loving Formula One.
Yeah.
Having that ability to connect with your fan base and create sort of that aspirational connection that didn't exist before storytelling was around, I reckon is unbelievable in regards to sport, not just from a community perspective, but a valuation perspective. So when I finished at my former role, I went with my business partner who I'd worked with and known for some time and said, I think there's a real gap in the marketplace for what this is now become Global Sports Fund Management Group, but for us to invest into sporting assets, sort of tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, because you can't afford to get into the bigger ones, and add our experience and skill set to actually make a difference operationally to it.
Can I take you back a step?
Sure.
You said before about taking your team around to these various experiences, various teams. What was that team? And second question was, how did you, Justin Pascoe or whomever, get access into those arenas, if you like?
Yeah, so the team was they were stakeholders that were associated with the club I was at the time.
Right.
So they were sponsors, partners.
So the Bulldogs or AFL Bulldogs?
It was with the West Tigers.
Oh, the Tigers, right.
Yeah,
okay,
so they were stakeholders associated with the West Tigers.
Right, yeah.
I always felt to have a group like that come on the journey and understand why we're doing some of the things we're doing back in Sydney.
Yeah, invaluable.
And because we were also trying to fund and raise money through state, federal and local council for an $85.5 million Centre of Excellence, that understanding what things should go into that Centre of Excellence that was above and beyond our competitors in the local marketplace, and seeing, because what you do, you can walk through the Cowboys Centre or the Jets Centre or the Clippers Centre, you may just pick up one thing, and I could walk through the current one in West Tigers and sit there and say, that's like that because I saw it at the Cowboys,
right.
That's like that because I saw it at the Jets, that's like that because... Yeah. And then you work with your high performance team around the flow and what's required from an athletic performance perspective.
So how did you get into those?
In terms of access, it was always easier for me because we're not competition, right? So I had contacts through my former life there, living in LA. And once you go to, let's say, the West Coast, and you go to 2 NFL clubs, 2 basketball clubs and a baseball club, then you'd go back to them at the end of it and say, thank you very much, Jim at the Dodgers. appreciate everything you've done for us. Next year, I'm actually heading to Arizona. I'd love you to introduce me to your counterpart at the Diamondbacks. And he would go, no problems. Awesome. So he'd sit there and go, John from the Diamondbacks, I'd like to introduce Justin Pascoe from Australia. He's brought a great group through, 6 months ago. And then I just start talking. And
that's fascinating.
Without a word of a lie, ironically, other than the Dodgers, every single person that spoke to us and every single appointment I made, they were on time, they were present, they were transparent, they were brilliant. And when I say the Dodgers, he was like 5 minutes late. But when you got literally 8 people following behind and relying on you to have organised this amazing experience, I'm sort of in the bus on the way down, texting him going, you're definitely there. You're gonna, and meanwhile, everyone's like, oh, this is fun. I'm going, yeah, it's awesome. Fricker, you're going to be there. You're going to be there. Because you don't want them to be let down, right? Because you've promised. And everyone was unbelievable.
But isn't that great? So they're very happy to share their story. And as you say, because you're not competition.
No. In fact, we're the furthest thing from competition. They literally have no idea about AFL or rugby league. In fact, we got told so many times, so rugby union, All Blacks, right? They're like, no. No.
Yeah, they even struggle with Australia, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So
can I just take a moment there to get your impression, given that your experience there, do you have a view of how Volandis is going with rugby league into Vegas?
I think it's a amazing launch of the season. I think personally it's a bit fool's gold to think that rugby league will ever take off in America. For sports to be successful, you need to have a pathway and participation numbers to support it. I don't see any high school ever taking on rugby league for the numbers to justify it. I've been to the event because I was there with Global Sports Fund trying to do a deal in Vegas for something, and it was just ironically the same time. I know quite a lot of people in America, they don't have any idea that it's on. I think the event is spectacular for those that visit there. I think the showcase of it back here in Australia on Fox is brilliant. I just don't think, my view only, that it will ever take off.
Yeah,
ever.
Right. Well, yours is an educated view insofar as you know the market and you know where the bodies are, I suppose. So
and to test my theory would be to go to Middle America or to the East Coast and ask people.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Anyway. It is a big country, America.
Massive.
And it's pretty insular too.
The point you make about the season launch is interesting though. So there's more bang for the buck, us sitting back here watching it, saying, wow, isn't that great? All the razzmatazz.
I just think it's a fantastic season launch. I think I don't know what the economics are. I've got no idea. And I think the AFL on the counter side have probably ruined the start of their season by trying to do opening round or whatever and break it all up just to get content on the same weekend.
I agree.
I think it's ridiculous, but I think Peter's demonstrated through COVID that he's innovative, and if he wants shit to get done, he gets shit done.
He gets it done.
Which is a credit to him and his team. Where it happens, I don't know, maybe up to year 4 or 5 of the contract. I'm not sure. I don't know what happens.
3.
Okay, I'm not sure what happens at year 6. But I would strongly suggest that there's not much cut through in regards to rugby league as a consequence of the event being there, other than it's a fantastic showcase back here. And people who, as I said, I was there last year, the people who were there loved it, as you would. Like
absolutely.
You're going to watch your team in a
couple of days in Vegas.
In Vegas.
And Allegiant Stadium is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's...
So go back. Sorry to interrupt you. The flow there. So Global Sports Fund. This is you going around to various places.
Yeah, I just felt that there was an opportunity. So we had two things. We had a Global Sports Fund Management Group, and then we've also got Global Sports Fund. That is a venture capital fund. We've gone through and got the process around an AFSL and all the compliance and regulatory issues that you need for that. That sits idle at the moment. We always thought, my business partner Lee and I, that we would sit there and invest our own capital and make that work first, and that would be a really strong narrative to when going to the fund and saying to other people, would you like to invest in the fund? We've done it with our own money. Here's some results of 2 or 3 clubs, and here's a transition of how they've gone from when we've taken over or invested in and the progress of that. What's happened in the last year, we get a lot of deal flows from around the world of opportunities, and they all come through as special purpose vehicles. Not many come through as a fund, which means I can now set up a special purpose vehicle, which is just a separate entity, and I can go and say, Soccer Club X over in the UK in Division 4, here's an opportunity. We think it's great. We set that up as an asset under our special purpose vehicle. Then I can go to the marketplace and say, we're putting 30% up for sale. Would you like to? So going out and selling individual assets under a special purpose vehicle, I think is the way we'll move forward, albeit the fund still sits there as an opportunity. So we set up the business. We had a notion around, we sort of sat down and thought what and why should we invest and what should we invest in, like how you're going to be disciplined to create some guardrails around, because sport, for me, I love sport, all sport. Yeah. So all the opportunities come across, and I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's great.
It's like
let's do that one. Let's do that one.
Lolly shop.
Correct. And I think the real discipline is saying no. So we sort of set up, and no particular order, but women's sport. Lee's got 3 daughters. I've obviously got one, as I spoke about. We thought that with the involvement of women's sport and how well it's being seen in the marketplace and understood by people now that they are fantastic athletes, as good as the men, the promotion of the NRLW, the AFLW, and I still think netball is, should be and is the most underutilised sport in Australia.
Athletes.
And they're extraordinary athletes. And the more you're close to them and you see them and what they do, they're like brilliant athletes. But
and of course the Matildas on top of that list
unbelievable.
as well. Yeah.
So you look at that and you just see the growth of the sport. And even if you drive around here, Sydney, Melbourne, and you see how many young girls are now participating in sport and whether they're going to become professional or not, just that participation. I'm a big believer that sport delivers so many positive messages to kids around teamwork, working with others, the discipline of sport, the fun of sport, playing with your friends, being outdoors, stopping you being on phones all the time. I think there's a social value that hasn't been quantified. And when I argue with people all the time, debate with people all the time around funding for stadiums, and certainly up here's, the perfect scenario, I would love to sit there and understand if we don't get more stadiums and kids decide not to play sport as a consequence of not having the facility, in 10 years' time, what is the social impact that has? Because it must be huge.
Absolutely, I agree.
Because you don't want kids hanging around, with all due respect, malls, doing nothing, sitting on their phone at home, doing nothing. That's not how society progresses. So I don't think I've answered your question. I've gone as far away from the question as possible. But women's sport was one. Then we wanted to do a sport that had significant participation but may have been governed not in the best way historically. But I think anything you would want to invest in, if you've got a solid base of participation and eyeballs, so if you're participating, you watch. It's just statistically how it works.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think the NRL had some ridiculous stat that said if you play NRL young, you're 6 times more likely to become a member, and if you're a member of a club, you're 8 times more likely to purchase merchandise and everything else. So there is a flow-on effect that makes sense, and you become truly invested and connected to the brand and the club.
It struck me, it brings to mind, I went once to Magic Round, and I hadn't been to rugby league for a long time, maybe 10 or 15 years. And I went to a Magic Round down at Lang Park in Brisbane. And this is possibly people's experience every weekend. It was mine. People wearing the merch is just extraordinary. They're tribal. Yeah. And that's rugby league. And you'd see it, Pepe, I suppose, given your AFL following.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
You change your jersey, bang, it has a direct impact.
And Indigenous round, there's all sorts of different opportunities, aren't there?
Yeah. So commercially, when you're in a club, you sort of sit there and you plan to maximise as many opportunities for merchandise sales as possible by still being respectful to the core colours and the heritage. I think there's a great story about Eddie Maguire refuses to change the black and white, which is great, I reckon. But what they do is they make subtle differences to the cut of the jersey or whatever it is.
Right.
So then people go, New Jersey. So it's still black and white stripes.
Especially Collingwood supporters.
Yeah, and they go and then they go and buy
it for that.
So we spoke about that. Then we spoke about any innovative new sport that had a significant event to support it. And something like flag football in America with the Olympics coming up is a really good example of that. Yeah. And we spent a lot of time sort of looking at how we could work in that space over there or domestically here or even in Asia where it's quite big now. And then the last one was technology. So anything that is really focused around whether it's AI or normal technology that looks at either the athlete and the well-being of the athlete and the prevention of injuries, or that ability to understand the customer journey and that data that enables you to understand the customer journey properly, so you can not only deliver what the customer wants but also monetize what the customer wants. Because if you go to any big club or any club, the biggest challenge is still understanding what the customer does from start to finish and how they can actually maximise that and deliver against that.
As in start to finish of their day at the match?
From everything. So, when you go to the game, what are the transactional points? What are the experiences they have?
Yeah, right.
When someone gets on the website,
Wow.
what drives them to the website? And then what's the path of next purchase on the website, and what's the thinking around that, and how can you affect that thinking? If you're a member. So it's a good example. We had in a former club fans all around Australia, and we would do a merchandise special. And you'd send out in July a beanie and scarf and puffer jacket special. It would go to everyone. It would also go, when I say everyone, it would go to the 25 fans that sit north of Cairns. When in anyone's life is someone north of Cairns going to wear a beanie, a scarf? That's just understanding that should have been an individual offer going to them, not a generic offer. So understanding your customer and everything about them can actually make you far more effective and efficient in the way you deal with them.
Who does that? Where's that skill base? Where's that knowledge come from?
Of
That strategy or strategizing that sort of, what am I saying? Who has the skill base to conduct that analysis? I mean, it's intriguing analysis.
I think there's in most businesses, by the way, like if you look at
You're probably right. Yeah.
if you look at best practice at a guess, your reward systems with Qantas, your Woolworths of the world,
Okay, fair enough.
those sort of things are probably, and they're really consumable products that every day where, especially Woolworths, we're utilising. And there's a lot of companies out there trying to specialise in that, whether it's Salesforce, Engage RM. There's a heap of them now. Even from your ticketing, do you bundle up tickets? Are you a person that when you buy a ticket on Ticketek or Ticketmaster, do you want to sit there and have a opportunity at that point to purchase a scarf or a jersey?
Yeah, right.
Even to the extent, and I might be wrong now, I think there's a stadium and it's heading this way where you walk into the stadium in America and it's all, what's it called when you
Face recognition.
face recognition.
Yeah.
So I don't know the premise of how it works, but basically you walk in and you must have obviously given credit card details over and everything. You can walk into merchandise and pick up a jersey and you walk out without a transaction, but they know you've walked out with that jersey. You go and buy merchandise. So at the end, you just get a bill. So you walk out of the stadium and you've just got a bill for 6 hot dogs, 10 beers, 2 jerseys, 2 hats. Even when you go over to America now and good places, it's about that customer service. Because I always sit there and go couch to couch for sport. It's got to be, how do you get someone off the couch at home, which means it's the way you get to the ground. It's the ease of how you get to the ground, whether public transport, car parking. It's the pre-game entertainment. And are you around like-minded individuals? So are you meeting beforehand with another 2,500 people that have all got the jersey and have all the same connection and alignment? Because that gives you that energy and sense of belonging, which is what you're trying to do at a sporting club.
Extraordinary.
And then when you're at the game, how do you make that game day experience? Is the concourse wide enough for people to walk? When you're setting up a stadium, is the concourse when you're sitting there? And if you think about old stadiums, you historically had to go out of your seat, up and round, and you're looking at a menu and there might be a little TV here or TV there, but you can't. Most stadiums now, certainly newer ones, you can actually see through, or everywhere you're looking
to the game,
you should still be able to see the game or have more access to see the game, because that's just the whole aspect of it, right?
It's my pet hate.
Yeah.
When you have to get up and go buy a drink or whatever and you're missing
and there's so
a
many,
goal or whatever.
Yeah, so many stadiums now, Peppy, where you can go and you actually sit down and you have the ability to, on your app, to have it delivered to you.
Yeah, that's right too.
So just thinking about those things, how to make that whole experience. And then after the game, is there some way you can bring people together, get them home? Because otherwise, in a day where it's quite expensive to attend sport in reality and drink and everything else, and you can't drink and drive, and so you've got to maybe catch an Uber there or public transport or whatever, it's And there's nothing better in the world than live sport. I'd argue with everyone until I'm blue in the face that if you go to live sport, you'll have a far better experience than sitting at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But the thing that may outweigh that is all the other things that I just spoke about not being delivered.
And the pain in the ass of getting there. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I can just sit on my couch and open the fridge and I don't have to worry.
Yeah.